Well, Grandpappy was your grandma's dad, and his name was J.Q. J.Q. Adams, and lived down in Monroe County in the small town of Temperance. And he was married with Granny, Marguerite, and they had 5 kids. And he actually never made more than $6 an hour his whole life. But he and Granny knew how to save money, and they always paid for everything with cash.
What was Grandpappy like?
He was always joking and kidding around. He loved to laugh. He was very friendly, and especially loved being together with the family. A lot of times he'd make popcorn, and he'd put it in a big wash tub, and he'd fill this big wash tub up with popcorn, and we'd all be sitting around talking and laughing and telling jokes and just talking about what happened during the day, or stories we remembered, funny things that happened on the farm, stuff like that. He had a favorite rooster that was a mix between a white-legged and a banny. So this rooster was aggressive and big. One time I was going out to the barnyard and taking 2 5-gallon buckets of water, and when I went out there, I put one of the 5-gallon buckets over the fence because I didn't want to open a gate. And that rooster came from behind the granary and came up to the fence and flew at the fence and spurred the fence. And so I had a stick there, fortunately, and I was mad at him because he was always flying up and trying to spur people. So I grabbed that stick and I whacked him through the fence. I whacked him right on the side of the head, knocked him down. He flapped his wings a couple times and then kind of went out cold. And I thought, oh no, I've killed Grandpappy's favorite rooster. So I put the other 5-gallon bucket over the fence, and then I hopped over with a stick, and I was going to poke him to see if he's alive or dead or what. And just before I got to him, he popped up, and then he started wobbling around like a drunk. And so I thought, well, good, now I don't have to tell Grandpappy I killed his favorite rooster.
You told me that he had a nickname and that there was a funny story behind that.
Oh, yeah. So one time we were coming home from up north, and so there was this woodchuck that went across the road, and he saw it go across the road, and he said to your dad, he said, Ralph, stop the car a minute. So he gets out, and Uncle Terry gets out, and your grandpa gets out, and they all go running through the woods, chasing after this woodchuck. A few minutes later, they come back, and they're all kind of looking all serious and everything. They're usually joking around when they come back out of the woods. But this time they weren't joking around. And as soon as Grandpappy got close enough, we found out why. As he was running through the woods, he got poked in the eye by kind of a little reed stick thing. Of course, once we got home and he was okay, then we all called him Grandpa Woody because he was chasing a woodchuck and got that stick in his eye. He loved being up north. They had a place up in Mayo, and we go up there, and it was nothing but hills and woods, and we just go out and enjoy nature. We just loved being up north, and we would sometimes raise a garden up there. We had a really big garden down at the farm. Sometimes we go out in the garden, especially when the tomatoes were just coming on and getting nice and ripe. We'd go out there in the morning while it was still cool and the dew was still on the tomatoes. We'd pick one off. We'd each get one that we thought was really nice and just perfect. And then we'd go sit on the back porch after we'd done some weeding or rototilling or taking care of, the different things in the garden. Sit on the back porch with our pocket knives and cut open the tomato, sprinkle some salt on it, and just sit there and eat the tomato down. Just a whole big tomato. And just love that.
So what other kind of things did Grandpappy like?
Well, of course, he loved his family, but especially he loved Granny. The two of them together sometimes were like a couple of teenagers in love, really. They would sit close to each other lots of times, and they would hold hands, and they just really, really enjoyed each other. Always sparkles in their eyes when they saw each other after they'd been away, or Because sometimes we'd be in the store or someplace, and Grandpappy would say to Granny, you know, I don't think I've ever kissed you here. And then they'd kiss. If we were going somewhere, he would always give her a kiss before he left. My life would have been totally different if I hadn't had Grandpappy. I could tell he really, really loved me and wanted the best for me. I think because of him, I could understand how much a father can love his children. It makes a big difference, because he really believed in me. He told me, you know, he said, Bobby, you know, anything you set your mind to, you can do. He said, you're smart enough. You can just, whatever you want to do, there's nothing that's going to be impossible for you to do.